Hey, it's your good friend Sarah, and I gotta admit, I did it all for the nookie. Okay, the midterms are just 3 weeks away, so let's talk about how some Republican politicians are planning to win. By cheating. I'm talking about voter suppression, things like closing polling places, purging names from voter rolls, and requiring photo ID, which, by the way, you do not need to purchase, say, a gun. The flashpoint for voter suppression is this year's gubernatorial election in Georgia, where Democrat Stacey Abrams is running to become the first black female governor in American history. In American history? That's not just Georgia? Oh, my God. This country's dog shit. Okay. Unfortunately for democracy, her opponent is family man and snot weasel Brian Kemp.
Brian Kemp is not only the Republican gubernatorial nominee, he's Georgia's Secretary of State, and now civil rights groups are suing him, claiming that Kemp's office put more than 53,000 voter registrations on hold. An analysis by the Associated Press shows that nearly 70% of those voter registrations are those belonging to African Americans.
The guy running against Stacey Abrams is in charge of the election? That's like if Lance Armstrong was in charge of testing his own piss. That's like if Les Moonves was one of the founders of Hollywood's official commission on sexual harassment. He was? Jesus. Kemp is engineering his own victory. See, Republicans can't directly pass a law saying people of color can't vote. We're about 2 years away from that if things don't turn around. But what they can do is invent new loopholes that effectively prevent people of color from voting. Republicans are experts at loopholes. They use concerns of voter fraud to commit voter fraud. They figure out how to make millions and then pay no federal taxes on it. They're the ones who figured out that you can still call yourself a virgin if you only have anal. They're the kings of loopholes and poop holes. All right, just listen, get out there and vote, be ready, make sure you're registered, don't be discouraged by long lines, bring your phone to the polls, and if they try to pull anything, record that shit. I don't know, is that creepy? I guess we're recording this shit. Vote for Stacey Abrams. Peace. Enjoying the autumn so far? Can you believe this foliage? Red, pink, blue, black, I don't know, I didn't look. Anyway, today I'm gonna talk about the absence of color in the form of white feminism. Let me take you back to January 21st, 2017, the Women's March. After such a brutal election, this march restored my soul. It was moving, it was fortifying, it felt like unity. But in the following days, I started seeing a hashtag that really harshed my mellow. In the reverie of the Women's March, women of color were posting disapproving tweets with the hashtag white feminism. And my knee-jerk reaction was to get upset. How dare these tweets put a damper on my nice little day? This declaration of separation between white feminists and feminists of color felt so frustrating, and it made me defensive, indignant even. I remember I was sitting with my sister, Jodine, and I was like, what the fuck? I mean, Jews were side by side with their black brothers and sisters in the front lines of the civil rights movement. And Jodine was like, yeah, maybe we should have been like in the third row. And I was like, whoa, fuck. Like, it really stopped me in my tracks. And then I mentioned that to my friend Liz Winstead, and she was like, yes, exactly. Sometimes being a feminist is setting up the chairs and making sure there's coffee and being behind the scenes for events where women of color are speaking. And I thought, fuck, right. You know, sometimes our part is not to be the voice, but to plug in the amps. And for those of you at home calling me a hypocrite because I'm up here saying white women should take a back seat while I'm starring in my own monologue about it, you're right. Congratulations, I'm embarrassed, I'm obnoxious. And yet I persist. That was supposed to be obnoxious. this, though. So I went back to Twitter, I clicked on the hashtag, and I read and I read and I read. And, well, egg on my white face. I realized my reaction of frustration was to their reaction of frustration. The difference was that mine was about ego, and theirs is because women of color have been protesting this same shit thanklessly for generations. Now, suddenly, a bunch of white women took one Uber downtown, bought a pussy hat, and got all the credit. And quick sidebar, I'm talking to myself on this. I am a white woman. I experience white privilege. I mean, yes, I'm Jewish, keep it down, but you can't always tell if someone's Jewish, you know? I mean, I can. Have a nice Seder, Scarjo. I can smell the knish on your breath, Gwyneth. Shana Tova, Fran Lebowitz. I'm just saying, when's the last time you heard of someone getting shot by cops for being Jewish? Oops, I mean in America. Oops, I mean at the time of this recording. Okay, so what is white feminism? Well, right off the bat, you know it's bad because it has the word white in front of it. White plus noun is never good. White power, white privilege, white pride, white house, white bread. Goes straight to my labia. That's where I gain all my weight. A moment on the lips, forever on the lips. But white feminism is a feminism that focuses on white women without acknowledging the experiences of the more marginalized types of womanhood, LGBTQ women, women of color. And by the way, this isn't knowledge that just dropped from the heavens into my brain. I learned it from reading other people's shit, people like Roxane Gay or Rachel Cargill. You know, you should follow them on social media. They're amazing. And while you're at it, follow me too. I'm trying to be an influencer. To start undoing white feminism, the first step is acceptance. In the 2016 election, 53% of white women voted for Trump, a man who sexually assaults women, a man who said women who get abortions should be punished, a man who separates children from their mothers at the border. In other words, 53% of white women sold out their gender to protect their race. White women admit it. Sometimes we're horrible. We're the white men of women. And I know some of you are thinking, well, white women are oppressed too. First off, calm down, Sharon. We get it, okay? Yes, we're more oppressed than white men, yes, but we still have power, and in general, we are not using it for good. Because again, over half of white women voted for Trump. God, that is just such a downer. I need like a more fun statistic. Did you know that termites eat wood 2 times faster when listening to rock and roll music? Okay, sorry. I needed that palate cleanser. Okay. Let's look at the way white women talk about the wage gap. And they talk about it a lot because white women love the gap. Was that a thinker? But the pay gap affects different women differently. The stat you always hear is that women make 80 cents on the dollar, but hi, that's just white women. Look at this. So here we go. White women, 80 cents on the dollar, abhorrent. Then we have black women. They make 63 cents on the dollar. What's worse than abhorrent? Really abhorrent. Latinas make 54 cents on the dollar. That's fucking bullshit. And by the way, indigenous women make 57 cents on the dollar, and that's especially fucked up because Sacagawea is the dollar coin. I'm sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. Let's get back to what's important. White women. Look, I had a shitty knee-jerk reaction when I first saw the hashtag white feminism, but being open to change is my best quality. That and my swan-like neck, and my skin, and my face. My face is my fortune. So white women, Let's be aware of our unearned privilege and use it to raise up those whose voices need to be heard. And we can all be aware that, no matter how hard it is for me, it's harder for you. And no matter how hard it is for you, it is harder for someone else. Feminism without women of color isn't feminism. It's just a sale at Lululemon. So here's the moral of my white feminism story. Don't be offended if someone points out your ignorance. When someone tells you you have a huge chive between your teeth, your reaction shouldn't be, no, I don't. They're trying to help you. So instead of getting defensive, go to the bathroom, look in the mirror, and get that shit out. White feminism is a chive in your teeth. Look at yourself and fucking fix it. And speaking of gross stuff you want to get rid of, I spoke with President Donald Trump in part 2 of our 3-part interview. Check it out. What is your election strategy for 2020?
My big strategy is local police forces have been armed and militarized. And once I give the go command, we're going to have them swarm the polls to make sure the right people, the white people vote. Then we'll have a proper election. But if it's stolen, which would mean I'd lose, then we'll have to activate a martial plan. And I say martial law because we need to do it the right way. And then I stay in, or until Ivanka takes over, or whatever needs to happen.
Are you farting right now?
I thought you wouldn't be able to tell, but I make a push face.
You do make a push face.
I'm done.
Okay. Do you know any immigrants?
Melania, my wife,
Yeah.
she was an immigrant. I had to make the deal to be with her. We had to buy citizenship. She said, listen, I want my parents too. And I was like, Jesus, are you kidding me? What is this? Family Matters? I'm gonna live with my parents? I love Family Matters though, because I love the big fat cop guy, the dad, because he was in Die Hard. And I always said, whoa, that guy's a Die Hard, and now he's a retired cop in Chicago. Die Hard lives in the world of Family Matters, which means that Balky and Cousin Larry are also in the Die Hard world. And I thought that was great.
Dinner. It's America's most popular evening meal. So I had it in Wyoming with a family of conservative Republicans. We talked and they fed me and it was nice. See, look. I'm in Fort Bridger, Wyoming to have dinner with a family of conservative Republicans. They're devout Mormons and they're here at their 30,000-acre cattle ranch, which has been in their family for generations. We're gonna get to the bottom of their views on Trump. Then maybe I'll pet some cows, milk a teeth, who knows? Oh my gosh! Hi, everybody! I brought gifts. Hi, I'm Sarah. My hosts are the Michael-eyes. There's Matt and Ashby. Matt is a former chairman of the Wyoming Republican Party who's now a partner at law. I break for nuanced political discourse with Hollywood liberals. Then there's Ashby. Ashby trains horses. She's a tough nut to crack, but I love a challenge. Matt's brother, Frank, works at a big oil company as a drill engineer, so in other words, he does fracking. He's married to Michelle. The couples have 3 kids each who are about to see some real Silverman classics. Here, you'll be Ow! You're too strong! Okay, will you be gentle this time? Okay. Oh, you're still too strong. Come here so I can trust the girls. I'm a princess, but I dress regular so people don't treat me differently. Keep it kind of between us, okay? Right. Break.
Hey, what'd she say? Are you serious?
Can I ask questions about being Mormon only because I don't really know besides seeing the musical?
Well, that's a documentary, right? So.
Right, that's a documentary written by Mormons. I know that at 19, you do your mission.
I went to Chile, southern Chile.
I've always wanted to go to Chile.
It's wonderful. I went to Moscow, Russia.
Really? Did you know anything about it?
No, I mean, I grew up here, right, in this town of 150 people.
How'd you not drink vodka? Isn't that illegal?
Every place we went tried to get us to drink vodka.
Wow, it's like their vitamin C there. Where did Ashby go?
To Florida.
Orlando. That's one place, sorry.
Yeah.
Girls do what they want.
And guys have to go.
Yeah.
What is not being said? I feel like you're trying to communicate to me with your eyes. You're like, tell me about Wyoming and living here and your life here.
I do horses, training horses, ride horses. We just had our county fair.
That's so cool.
What I do, I'm a petroleum engineer, which is, you've heard of fracking?
Yes, all I know of what fracking is you like push liquid in incredible pressure into like subterranean rocks, and then that pressure forces like gas and oil to come in through like fissures in the rock or something, and then you gather it. Is that even close?
It's not, yeah, it's,
I read on the toilet.
yeah.
It's actually safe and clean, but if there is a leak, it could ruin groundwater, and water is how we all stay alive.
Every energy source has risk.
Well, wind and solar does.
How many birds do you think die from those? And we support wind too, but
You guys shoot birds.
I know. I'm just saying.
Let's not be disingenuous here. You're a lawyer for the environment, right?
Right.
But are you a good witch or a bad witch?
I've been a lawyer for 16 years. I've never had any client want to do anything other than what's best for the environment and what's best for the company. I've never even had
Best
this
for what
conversation.
company?
Well, what's best for the country is what I meant to say. The best for the.
That is a Freudian, that is
No,
a
but what's
slip
best for
that
the
has
environment.
so much truth
No,
in it.
but-
I mean, for a country that very much is a slave to oil.
We need oil for our way of life. That's just a fact. We need fracking.
Until we figure out
Until we
another
need,
option.
right now, today, we can't stop.
I probably should have challenged him more, but I was so hungry. What store do you buy a bowl that big?
That's one good thing about being a Mormon is you get everything in bulk because you're one kid, you know?
I forgot to have children. You'll be my child.
Okay.
Can we get real? I mean, like we were in the kitchen. I'm not getting realer. How are you feeling about Trump? Do you all agree about your feelings about Trump, about the administration now, about...
So I'm not a big fan of the antics or personality, the tweets, and that aspect. I'm not a fan
We'll
of
all
that.
agree with that. No, the only thing that, like, I always get offended of is when they ask me how I feel as a woman. Like, why did I not vote for Hillary as a woman?
I got that pressure, too, as someone who loved Bernie.
As an American, why I didn't vote for her is different policies, you know?
Right.
Liberals don't understand. I don't care about Russia collusion,
You don't
conspiracy
care about
theories.
the...
Like, I don't care about the
conspiracy-
email server. Those
Right.
aren't important, critical issues to me.
But a foreign government has meddled in the American election.
That's not the deciding factor for who I vote for. It's philosophy.
I think liberals believe you give money to the government and they'll do good with it. Conservatives believe there's things that the government has to do, but on the whole, government's going to be really inefficient with that money. They're going to waste it. And there are better ways, there's better things that money could be doing.
What, are you guys members of the NRA?
None of us are.
I know that you like guns for pleasure or whatever, but what are your feelings on, like, gun regulation of any kind?
I don't think gun restrictions help because there's so many guns in our country that, like, if you're a criminal, you're not going to say, oh, there's a law that says I can't have a gun.
I would say, like, why do we have guns of war that are available for citizens, like AR-15s? But then other people have said, yeah, we hunt with AR-15s. And I'm like, do you fish with dynamite? Because that doesn't sound like a sport at all. I talk a lot about gun regulations and the damage of guns, but the truth is when I'm watching Walking Dead, I'm like, get the guns!
There's studies that show when the zombie apocalypse comes, Wyoming's the best place to be.
Of course it is.
It's got to be, right?
First of all, they have tons of cattle to eat at first. The cattle aren't going to become zombies unless that's a whole new genre, which I just thought of, and I'm copywriting it right now.
For us, guns are recreational tool to just have fun, I guess. You know, go hunting.
Cole, if guns are so great, why don't you show me how to shoot one?
Let's go right now.
All right, let's do it. Clear my plate.
Yeah.
I'm I'm obviously not a big gun lady, but in the spirit of adventure, I let the Michaelites take me out for a shooting lesson. I really don't get the appeal, but I'll give it a try. I feel alive! All right, what do you want me to get, the apple?
Let's go for the apple on top of the can. Ooh, you got it.
Oh my God, that was terrifying. Smells like freedom. In a time where there's not a lot of consideration for nuance, I find it really hard to categorize the Michaelites. Do I think that they're possibly ignoring some inconvenient truths? Yeah, I do. Did I try to take them to task? I did. Did they take me to task? They did. Did I enjoy firing that gun? Fuck yes. I mean, don't tell anybody.
I don't think we changed each other's minds. We both are pretty solid in our beliefs.
She's really genuine, and she's more than just a comedian, more than just a Democrat, but a person with different viewpoints. She's super kind.
I broke you.
We learned a lot of things today. Different people from different backgrounds come together, a stimulating conversation. And
Bye, thank you so much. Make America great! Woo! My guest tonight is a Presidential Medal of Freedom winner and the president of the Dolores Huerta Foundation. She co-founded the United Farm Workers of America with Cesar Chavez. Please go apeshit for Dolores Huerta. So Dolores, you were a teacher before you became an organizer. What was that moment of change for you?
A couple of things. Once when I was actually doing voter registration, going door to door, and I came to the house of a farm worker family that had a dirt floor, orange crates and cardboard boxes for furniture, children that were threadbare, and I thought this is so wrong because these people work so hard to put the food on our table. And then as a teacher, having to beg my principal to get a voucher for shoes, to get a free lunch, to get milk for these kids, and having to argue my case. And I thought I can do more by organizing their parents than by trying to teach their hungry children.
You, of course, coined the phrase "si se puede," which was then stolen by our last great president. Take a look.
And on a personal note, Dolores was very gracious when I told her I had stolen her slogan, "Si se puede," yes, we can. Knowing her, I'm pleased that she let me off easy, because Dolores does not play.
All right, so are you okay with this guy appropriating that?
Well, he won. So that was worth it.
You have been arrested over 20 times. You've been beaten within an inch of your life by a police officer in San Francisco. What drives you to keep going?
Well, we know we have a lot of people out there that are apathetic, that are not engaged, and we know that in order to really create a better world for all of us, that we've all got to get involved. And so I believe that when you're an organizer and you're out there and getting people to come out of their shells, making them understand that the world needs them, especially women, and that we've got to get out there and we've got to do our bit, especially when it comes to voting.
And is that, what are you focusing on now?
Well, we have two issues. One of them is, of course, the elections. We want to get everybody to get out there and register to vote. The other is in stopping the school-to-prison pipeline, because there are so many of our African-American and Latino students that are being pushed out, expelled out of schools, and police are called into the schools. A large part of the school budget is going to police departments, and these kids, right away, they get a record. And we've got to stop this. It's horrendous. And I like to quote Coretta Scott King. Coretta Scott King said, "We will never have peace in the world until women take power." And but I do want to amend that statement by saying we will never have peace in the world until feminists take power.
Yeah.
Because there is a difference.
The United Farm Workers was one of the first groups to promote intersectionality. For people who don't know, what is intersectionality and why is it important?
I think that basically just means that all of us have to come together. We've got to merge our movements, the Me Too movement, the Black Lives Matter movement, the young people that are trying to stop the gun violence in our country, our LGBT movements, our labor movement, our immigrant rights movement. We've all got to come together and work together because the issues that we are facing are so challenging and they're so huge that the only way that we can overcome is if we all help each other out on our issues. And I forgot to include the environment, which we know is so important because if our planet dies, you know, then our future generations are not going to be able to live on Mother Earth.
I guess if the planet dies, we don't have to worry as much about the other issues.
That's right, that's right, that's right. That's true.
What would you say to someone who wants to make change, who wants to get involved but doesn't know where to start?
Well, I think one good way is to, election time is right now, you know, we have November, join a campaign. We have a lot of great women that are running and a lot of progressive candidates. You know, come and volunteer. Call people to come out to vote. There's a lot of organizations out there, environmental organizations, women's groups, immigrant rights groups, labor organizations that need people to come and help them. Volunteering, believe me, is the best way to learn not only how to organize, but also the political landscape and how to change the world. In many of the organizations that I worked for many, many years, I was a volunteer for maybe 6 or 7 years before I ever got hired to do anything.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I think volunteering teaches you what your worth is. I think so many people don't understand their own power.
And it also, I think for women, it also helps us to overcome our inhibitions. And because when you're out
that and a little bit of pot.
Well, I don't know if that might make somebody more sleepy.
You got anything else you want to say to us?
Yes, I would like to ask the audience and kind of challenge them for a quick minute.
Okay.
Okay, so this is a very simple question that I want to ask the audience. And please don't answer until I tell you when, okay? The question is, who's got the power? And I want you to say, we've got the power. And when I say, what kind of power? I want you to say, people power. Can we do that? Yes. But could you shout it loud? Is it okay they shout loud? Uh-huh. You have permission. And we want to do this so loud that the neo-Nazis and the alt-right, the misogynists, the homophobes, the bigots, all those haters, they can hear us, all right? Yeah. Can we do that? Okay, so let's go. Very, very loud. Who's got the power? We got the power! What kind of power? People power! All right. No, now we can say, are we going to go out there and organize and campaign and vote? What do we say? Can we say it in Spanish? Sí se puede. Okay, let's do it with an organized hand clap because we have to be organized. Okay, let's go. Sí se puede. Sí se puede. Sí se puede. Sí se
Dolores, thank you so much. Amazing. My thanks to Dolores Huerta and Anthony Atamanuik, who you can see in his special, the President Show documentary, this Monday at 11 on Comedy Central. Wow, what a great show. I really don't think we can top it. I guess tune in next week for like a slightly shittier episode. Good night, America. I love you.